Hey you guys, what's up? It's Amanda. It's another episode of Keepin at Trill. This week, my returning guest is Hugh Carey. What's up, Hugh?
Hey, what's going on, girl?
How are ya?
Great. I'm back again.
Guess who's back?
That herpes is flaring up.
When you come back on, we can just call it the flare-up episode. You're back, baby.
Yeah. I'm literally the STD that's just going to keep reappearing in your podcast,
But
whether
I like
you
it,
like
so
it or
I'm not even
not.
going to the doctor. So I'm like, this is the one I want to live with. It's fine.
Yeah. And you're going to spread me to all your friends too.
Listen, we're a community here.
Sharing is caring,
Yeah,
right?
this is socialism at its best, okay? Spreading STDs.
That is true. STDs are pretty socialist.
Yeah. Were they born in the Soviet Union? Like, what's going on here?
It's a Russian conspiracy. That's what it is. Yeah.
Probably is. So today is July 5th. We had July 4th yesterday. It was the weirdest one probably because everybody was stuck home. So neighborhood fireworks were out of control.
It didn't feel like 4th of July. First of all, I actually was looking at it. I have one of those whiteboard calendars in my office.
Yeah.
And I realized this morning I have not changed it since February. So technically,
that's very relatable because that happened at this house too.
I'm just saying, like, it did not feel like the 4th of July.
No, it really didn't.
And if it didn't sound like Fallujah outside of my house last night, I probably would have forgot that it was 4th of July.
I saw awesome fireworks show because I came over to Hugh's last night for dinner, and when I was leaving because I had to take the highway home, I saw all the best fireworks on the way home. Actually,
We know how to throw down in P Park.
yeah, and like I could even because when I was up on the overpasses, I could see even into Clearwater and stuff. So people were. But yeah, it started tapering off the more north I got. They were really doing it down there.
Amanda's just trying to say that she lives in the better part of town.
No, I don't at all. When I came home, they were like I could barely get into my street because they were just going crazy over here.
Was it as bad here though as it was when you left my house?
You know what? The noise, yes, but I couldn't see where they really were around here, but I could hear them. So I don't know what that was all about. But there was a time probably 45 minutes after I got home where it was like nonstop.
Oh, was Lola scared?
She wasn't as bad as I thought she was, but she was like right on me.
Yeah.
Like she wasn't, because sometimes...
Was she shaking though?
A little bit. When it started getting like machine gun, she wasn't playing that shit. But
yeah. When someone pulls out that Tech 9 and just starts shooting it in the air. I had to get my dog high as fuck last night.
I think
on CBD.
But listen, I think veterinarians of America need to come together and like once a year, every dog gets one Valium, no questions asked, and it's for 4th of July.
One?
How many do they need?
Lucy? She probably needs like a IV drip, a main line right into her.
One IV bag.
Yeah, because she gets like, but this year she was good. Last year I didn't think of it.
Yeah, she was high as shit.
She was so high, and then I was just. We were cooking in the kitchen, and she has her cone on because she chews a lot, and she's got all these allergies and whatever.
Lucy is so cute. She's white and curly.
She's a half Schnauzer, half Bichon mix. And I just remember looking down, and Amanda's like, she's got 1,000-yard stare in her eyes.
Yeah, because she was looking at me, and it almost looked like she had like that stoner smile that's just like that lazy, like...
Yeah,
that's what she looked like as a dog, and she was like, "Hey, bud." Like,
she looked like a gargoyle, she was like
stone faced, just like.
Yeah.
Wait, is that what they call it, stoned?
Maybe. Oh yeah, that's probably yeah.
Is it?
Like yeah, that would make sense.
Getting stoned. Yeah, I never knew what the hell they were talking about. But yeah, we had a really nice steak dinner last night.
Yeah.
You came through on the Brussels sprouts.
Surf and turf.
Yes, and shrimp. There was a lot happening last night.
Scrimp, steak, and with your bougie ass twice baked potatoes.
We were in the middle of a war zone, just eating like nothing was going on.
It was
and we
very
had a little
dystopic.
Rosé. Yeah.
It's like the world's crashing down around us. Let's celebrate.
It's like a last meal for prison. Like we were just the
living...
violins were still playing on the Titanic. Like
I am literally living my life right now as if every day this is it. Because every day it is, right? Like some new shit every day.
And even if it's not like actually ending, I feel like any moment they're going to be like, absolute lockdown is happening again, like worse than before.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like at any moment they're going to announce that everything is closed. So I'm just trying to...
Yeah, I'm just waiting for that moment to happen because Florida's getting crazy.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. They closed the bars again, which that's how you know Floridians are in distress when they're like the only answer.
Oh, I thought you
said
that's how you know Floridians are alcoholics because that was the only way they can maintain control.
That's what I mean.
Of Corona.
Yes, they are such alcoholics that like the only way they can control people is they're like cut off the liquor.
Yeah,
like, they know that's how to hit them.
And I went out. I think it was it was Friday because it was on. You had a show at Snappers last Friday.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I went out to dinner with a couple friends, and that was when the new rules took place as far as the bars not opening.
I was getting...
Every fucking bar on Central Avenue in St. Pete was open.
Really?
And I have video evidence of it. They were outside. It was almost like First Friday, and I'm thinking, and then I saw cops.
First Friday, wasn't it?
It was, and I saw cops like driving by, and they weren't doing anything. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad that we're all taking the new rules seriously. Not that I care, because honest, I'm just to the point where like I never thought America really cared. To be honest, like I never really thought that our government had our best interests at heart. I think it was more so to protect the workers, which make the companies money, right? Like it's not because they care for our health, right?
Well, the crazy thing about you saying that the police weren't ignoring it, when I got to the show at Snappers on Saturday, there was a sheriff in the parking lot leaving, and as soon as I got in, the guy was like, oh yeah, they were just in here telling us we had to close the bar area because it's a restaurant and bar, and then they have the comedy club on the side.
But they're categorized as a restaurant, technically, so they can still do shows. So they were allowed to
stay open, but they couldn't have anyone sitting at the bar part. Right. So they had people outside, and then there was people in the comedy room. But yeah, like so the sheriff came by to make sure that they were adhering to the rules, whereas 24 hours before that, St. Pete was like, do what you want.
They're turning up.
Yeah, and they like not all the ICU beds, but there's a couple hospitals around here that all the ICU beds are taken. So Lord. It's kind of crazy right now. Like,
I mean,
but the weird thing is that it doesn't affect my you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here thinking like, oh my God, all the ICU beds, but all this crazy shit is happening right around us. It's weird.
I know. I think I saw something when this first started. It was like a diagram of when they thought Florida was going to have a peak moment, like the New York, every state was going to have like a New York situation. And I remember seeing like in the very beginning, they were saying the end of June is when Florida was going to have their peak. So I don't know if this is just, we finally did hit that peak. I'm sure it had to do with the easing of the rules and allowing people to go in public. But I do remember specifically seeing like they were saying Florida was going to have their peak in June. So it could be just exponentially worse now because of the fact that it finally made its way down here, and then like all the rules got lax, and it just turned into a shit show.
They finally ramped up the testing, so they're testing more people now than they were at the beginning because they didn't have the test and all that. So it's a pretty crazy situation. And they like, did you see where they were having the parties in Alabama to like see who could get infected?
Yes, that's the most Alabama thing I can think of, and I'm not shocked by it.
No, this is the biggest group project that we've ever had, and we're all failing.
Yeah.
Like, because...
Yeah, and so I saw someone said, they're like, Florida's like the kids in the back of the classroom that keep talking, and we're not going to have recess because of it.
Exactly, yeah, because the places that were hit really hard early on, and then they went on a real lockdown, they're bouncing back now as we're
Well, guess what,
in the
bitch?
thick of it.
We're coming to your state now, and we're going to fuck your shit up.
We're coming, bitch.
It's only $22 on Frontier to fly to New York City.
Yeah, like, you have to strap onto the wing.
I could charter that whole plane for like $300, bitch. Let's go.
Travel is so cheap right now. It's crazy, but like, what is there even to go do?
Well, I was thinking about that. And some
places quarantine you for 2 weeks, so you have to like plan on a 1 month vacation.
What do you mean? Some places are quarantining you for 2 weeks.
New York said that if you fly in from like a list of states and we're on it, that you have to like be on lockdown for 2 weeks when you arrive.
Who is enforcing that?
I don't know.
The quarantine, the Karens of fucking New York? Actually, no, they're the ones not enforcing it. Excuse me, I just burped.
I don't know. The mayor was breaking up religious ceremonies by Jewish people at the beginning of this, so he don't play. So I don't know what his plan is. I don't know if there's like a special camp that they send you to. I don't know, but they're getting crazy.
He does seem a little anti-Semitic.
Wait, I thought the left loved Cuomo now. Is he not their darling?
Oh, I thought you said...
Oh, well, the mayor.
You said the mayor?
Isn't that de Blasio?
Yeah.
See, I don't know.
I'm just assuming that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I didn't want to go deep on the Jew reference, but you brought it up.
Listen, well, they were still having secret ceremonies. Excuse me. Those curls do not protect you from the virus.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to be safe here. But I have seen a lot of studies, and I don't know if they're reputable or not, but they say that weed is supposed to be good for this virus.
Supposedly weed, vitamin D, and if you have O blood... I got 2 of those 3 things. And I used to be a smoker. I saw something about smoking. Something to do with smoking has to help with... It does something to prevent it from, like, taking root or whatever. I don't know.
Isn't that fucked up? The more healthy you are, the worse this is for you.
Well, no, but I do know that that's actually not the case too, because people that are like diabetic, or like if your uncle's got a missing pinky toe because he's got the diabetes, he needs to stay the fuck home.
But like if two identical twins, one smoked cigarettes and one didn't, the only advantage is that the one smoked cigarettes. Like that's not.
I think it's just Mother Nature's way of saying live your best life, bitch. Go smoke some cigarettes, and finally something positive to come out of smoking, right?
I was gonna say, wait a minute, do not let the Florida Truth for Tobacco ad hear this, because they're not gonna have it.
Yeah, this is never gonna be allowed to be monetized in the future because we're promoting cigarette use. But I would think if I was the governor of Florida, I would be handing out packs of Newports on every fucking corner.
Menthol?
Of course. Who smokes non-menthol Newports? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they actually do. But who's smoking non-menthol Newports?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know.
They need to be handing out Newports and White Claw because it's Florida.
When was the last time you saw somebody in one of those really cool Newport jackets?
I've never seen anyone in what you're saying is a cool Newport jacket ever.
Like the puffer. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like a bomber, like a windbreaker. Yeah. I always remember those ads. I always thought it was kind of hypocritical because it was always really tall, skinny white people smoking them in the ads. Like, and they'd be like, "Have a great day with a Newport," and it was like some Bob Saget looking motherfucker. And it's like not a lot of like white people are smoking Newports.
No, Newports are the cigarettes of black people.
It is they have a demographic.
Yeah, it's like an unofficial sponsorship. Like that's the like. I don't know any black people that smoke cigarettes that are like, let me get some Marlboros. Like,
yeah, let me get some Benson and Hedges or Pall Malls. I don't know.
Well, I've never been a cigarette smoker, but I always wonder what's the turning point to where you decide if you're a menthol or not.
When I smoked, because I started smoking menthol, so I always was menthol.
Is it really minty? Like, what is going on with that?
I've
never been a cigarette smoker, so I don't get it. Like, you have to break it down from my stupid.
I mean, you light the cigarette, you inhale it. No,
but it's like
it's like a cooling feeling. Like if you hit a blunt or a joint or something and you get that burn, it's like it kind of alleviates it a little bit. But I don't know. It's supposed to be worse for you. I don't know. But I did smoke Marlboro Menthol Lights, which is a very homosexual cigarette. Well, just to throw that out there.
I remember when we were in high school, all my friends that smoked the Camel Cool Crush that were in like a black and hot pink package. It was totally targeted for teenage girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like neon pink, teal, and black packaging, and you like pushed a button.
Yeah, there's a little.
So it was like a hybrid cigarette. If you couldn't decide which.
A lot of bars sell those because it's one cigarette they can sell that will appease to everybody. But the problem is it's. I'm saying this ironically. It's like the worst fake menthol flavor. So, and I mean, if you want to sound like that old lady from Monsters Inc. that was the secretary,
yes,
you have a talk like your voice will sound like this.
Or Marge's sisters from
Patty and Selma.
Yes,
like Patty and
Selma. If you want to have the DMV voice,
yes. if you want to sound like you have swallowed a cactus that's also been in a garbage disposal, smoke like 2 packs of those in one night at a bar, and you'll have that voice.
Wow. Ugh.
So that's your.
And yet people still love cigarettes.
Enlightenment to smoking. I love smoking. It was more of a hobby, just like for something to do than.
I can understand liking the act of smoking because like I like to smoke a joint. Like I like that feeling of, I don't know, it just feels good. Yeah. So I can get behind I understand why that's very appealing. Yeah. My mom smoked cigarettes when I was growing up like a crazy person. And I feel like that either makes you smoke too or it makes you absolutely hate cigarettes. Like you can either you're like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. Or you're like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. And my mom used to smoke Benson and Hedges 100s.
And excuse me, what color is your mother?
White.
Thank you.
Snow White. And I remember, and I used to, even as a kid, I used to think, this shit isn't adding up because I said, why do you always get the extra long ones and only smoke half of it? And listen to her. This was her reasoning. She said, well, when I get the shorter ones, I smoke double.
But you're still smoking the same amount. Yeah, it's the logic. And plus, it's the timing, too. So it's like when I'm done with my cigarette, I'm done. But But if I don't feel like I've gotten enough, then I'm going to light another one. But then it's like too much time has gone by. So
Yeah,
I guess I used to make fun of my friend's mom. She used to smoke those Virginia Slim 150s or
Yeah.
whatever. I was like, yeah, those are the diet cigarettes because they're like real thin and skinny.
Okay, that is the equivalent to when Michelob Ultra came out with these kind of tall, skinny cans, and they're like, but it's not a big boy beer. It's not like a big boy cigarette. It's not that bad.
Yeah, and like Diet Coke now has those real thin, like
soda comes in like an 8-ounce portion. It's like
it comes in a White Claw can basically.
if
now
you're doing it, just do it.
just fucking drink
Just
a
do
soda.
it. Yeah, I mean,
the aspartame and the xylitol is gonna kill you just as quick as the diabetes. Like just whatever.
embrace it. We never know what the last day of the earth is, so
It
just
could be today, and here I am drinking Stella, and you're drinking a White Claw. Is this what you want to die on?
We could at least we're not going out drinking Natty. I mean,
I listen. Sometimes when money's short.
Okay, when you were in high school, what was the cheap beer of choice? Like everybody was pulling their allowance to get.
Well, it really wasn't the cheap beer of choice. It was for whatever reason, it just was the beer of choice. Was literally Old English.
Oh,
because
really?
you could get. We would go to the drive-through farm store in South St. Pete, and they would sell it to any kid or whatever. And it was you could get a 40. And between two people, split it for like, I don't know, like $2 or $1 maybe back then. That and Mike's Hard Lemonade. Like if everybody was really pulling cash, like that was because they had just come out at that time. So it was very appealing. Plus you could like chug them easy.
Yeah, I remember we snuck alcohol to a sleepover one time. It was like our first time drinking. There was 4 girls, and we chugged Smirnoff Ice. And I got so sick.
Smirnoff Ice came out before Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yes, Smirnoff Ice was like the new age Zima, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was basically, it's a malt liquor basically.
Yeah,
with,
it was like the clear kind.
But it was lemony. Yeah.
Like a hint of a zest of like...
Yeah.
Yeah, we drank those, and then it became we were just stealing whatever our parents had.
Oh, see, that wouldn't work for me because my dad strictly only drank Budweiser. That was it.
Oh,
And I
see,
just
my
was
mom
not
was
interested.
a Miller Lite gal, so
that'd have been fine with me.
Okay, as an adult, I think about it now, but we literally would go to our parents' houses, and I would just walk out the front door with the whole 18-pack that she just bought. As an adult...
Your mom had a suitcase in the fridge?
Yes, if that tells you anything about what was happening.
And she smoked Benson and Hedges.
My
I guess she
mom-
had to balance out the quality cigarettes for the, the alcohol.
She takes after my grandpa in that, right? Like, my grandpa drank Busch Light on purpose. The man got, like, a really nice pension and shit from the teacher. Like, he was not hurting in retirement, and he drank Busch Light on purpose. Like, that's what he liked.
Sure.
He liked it. Yeah.
I'll believe it. Sure.
We're from Kentucky. We do what we can up there.
That probably is high class for Kentucky.
But listen, let me tell you, did I ever tell you about how I loved Bud Ice?
Yeah, I think we talked about it. Yeah.
That was a low
Do they
point.
even sell that anymore? We were going to try to figure that out, right?
I think they do still sell it, but you can only buy it in a 6-pack. And honestly, if you're drinking more than a 6-pack, you're going to jail.
Like you can only buy it in a jail commissary.
If you even have one sip over 6 Bud Ices in one evening, you are going to jail and later prison. Like,
it's literally the Hennessy of beer, right?
Yes,
You will start several fights.
You're going to do everything you've ever regretted in your life.
You're going to break every law.
But I tell you what, when it's ice cold, it goes down really smooth. I'm sorry to say.
Well, now I got to go to jail to go buy you some, and I'll bring it on the next episode when this herpes is deciding to reappear.
And that was the reason why I found out that I liked Bud Ice was because me and my cousin Cassie, we had this Uncle Randy who was like married into the family. He was our aunt's husband, and he loved Bud Ice. And he would start playing Leonard Skinner on the guitar. He would have too many and go to bed, and we're like, hey, let's go get some Bud Ices. So we'd be in the garage drunk on Bud Ice. And then I never knew that it was... Okay, you ever not know that something is fucked up until you take it around other people?
Like heroin?
Well, like Bud Ice. Because I had only had it in a warm family setting. And then I brought it to a party one time and people were like, what the fuck is that?
We're insulted that you would even think that we would want to drink this piss.
Yeah, like when you realize that not everyone does it the way your guys are doing it, you're like, oh fuck. Like
No, gay, honey. We pick up on social cues.
Just born classy, baby.
Yeah,
Like,
I was born with, I don't know, I'm trying to think
a
of
silver spoon and my pinky up, like
a Stella Artois was in my bassinet.
a chalice. Yeah, you were drinking.
Yes.
You were drinking formula from a chalice at a young age.
My silver-plated chalice, my goblet, and had like turquoise in it and rubies and gemstones.
You were snapping before you could walk. It was the whole thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about was if you had any bad neighbor stories. Because now I don't know if they're actually bad yet because I've only had one interaction. And granted,
First of all, let me just preface this conversation by Amanda sent me a picture, and she was not even trying to conceal the fact that she was literally being Mrs. Kravitz. And I don't know if y'all know who Mrs. Kravitz is. If you ever seen that show, Bewitched?
Yeah.
The neighbor across the street would always see
nosy
Samantha.
neighbor.
She was nosy as fuck, and she was looking through her blinds, and she'd always be catching the witch, like Samantha, the witch, doing like weird shit and like making things appear. And she would always tell her husband, that what's her name? That Stevenson's up to something again. And so Amanda literally, Mrs. Kravitz, her neighbor, she sent me a picture. These people just moved in.
Yeah, it was July. The date was July 1st.
It's a picture of her, and she's got her phone, and she's like, she took a picture of her front of her house through her blinds. Like, she couldn't even just like go outside and take the picture. She had to do it through the blinds to let me know.
Yeah, because we live in a duplex. Like, for anybody who's, I don't know.
But like,
not everyone
honestly,
knows, but
nobody would have seen you if you stuck it, like, stick the phone
But
through
it's
the
a duplex,
through the blinds.
and so we share a driveway that's split down the middle. And so I was in the front window taking a picture of the driveways because the next door neighbor had just moved in, and they had a whole bunch of friends over on crotch rockets, which already my prejudice is coming out because I'm like, don't like them.
Amanda's like, I am about to call white people customer service
I am.
right
I was
now,
like,
aka the cops.
Where? Yes, I know. I'm like, I need an officer out here stat because these people. But okay, so this was what happened. They had friends
These
over.
people, huh?
They had their friends' motorcycles parked in my half of the driveway, like in front of my car. So if I wanted to leave, I would have had to ask that. Now, looking back, I didn't need to go anywhere.
Again.
But also,
Mrs. Kravitzing.
Also, let me say, okay, today's the 5th. This happened on the 1st. I'm about to get my period any second. So I feel like I need a little bit of leeway here because hormones were high, okay? Hormones were very high. And I go, my kids get dropped off by their dad, and they come in, and because I didn't.
I was gonna say, these people next door, when you were describing the car that they drove, I'm like, I wonder if they know Amanda's husband or ex-husband.
But listen, I didn't even know that they were parked in the driveway because I was watching TV on the couch. I hadn't gotten up for like 2 hours. The kids come home and they say, did you know that the neighbors are blocking your car in? I flew up from the couch. I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know why it set me off so much. Honestly, it's very irrational looking back on it, but I still feel like I'm validated.
Okay. Little irrational. I'm going to say this as a white person that should be in your shoes, right? I should be
irrational.
I'm just going to say, like, if someone had parked in front of my driveway, and I needed to go somewhere, I would just go over and be like, "Hey."
Well, okay, so I scoped out the situation through the blinds. And then I had to take something.
No, you were sleuthing through those blinds. You were not scoping anything. I did
what I needed to do.
You were Sherlock Holmesing your front driveway.
Listen, I need a magnifying glass everywhere I go because I'm always looking for clues, bitch. Because you never know.
Nancy Drew, the gumshoe here.
But yes, I did overreact. I will admit that. But also,
you didn't overreact. You passive aggressively reacted.
Okay, yeah, and I hadn't told anybody that part of the story yet.
Oh, was I not supposed to say anything?
No, it's okay.
Oh, it's out now.
Yeah, because I went to the recycling bin because I had to put a box out anyway. And
she probably did not have to put that box out.
It could have waited till morning.
It could have waited.
It could have waited till morning, but I had one that could
But
go
Amanda
out.
needed to go out and establish dominance with these fucking noobs that just moved in next door because first of all, who the fuck do they think they are?
I know. I'm
coming up in Palm Harbor.
I had to go out and piss on the driveway, proverbially. Like
that, I promise you, if you would have done that, You would never have any problems with these people next door. Like
But
that actually, we need to do that when the podcast is done. Both of us are just going to go out there,
And
pull our
just piss
pants down
everywhere.
and just piss all over that driveway and be like, listen, this is ours. You can park down the street.
Well, listen, I got my hair braided. I'm feeling very powerful lately. So I was like, you know what? I need to let them know which end is up. Okay. So I go out and I put my stuff in the recycling bin. I'm looking at them. I put the stuff in and put the lid down and I go back inside. Then that wasn't done. So then I had
I'm trying to like understand this from their perspective. Like, oh, this is our neighbor. She comes out. She's going to the
Listen,
recycling
honestly,
bin.
I feel really bad because I am a nice person who gets carried away with emotions. So every
Cancer.
time I act, yes,
Cancer.
cancer season is upon us.
Yeah.
Every time I act up, I immediately feel bad, even if I was justified, which in this situation, 50-50. But I still felt bad because I was like, I don't want to be an asshole. But I took the dog out for a walk, and they had gone on a motorcycle ride, came back, and parked in the exact same spot. So that's when I was like...
So are we going to be baking them a pineapple upside down cake to apologize for the fact that you went to the recycling bin?
Well, no, it got worse.
Oh, I didn't...
Oh, yeah, it got worse. My end of it got worse. They've still been...
They probably have no clue. They have no clue probably.
I think they think that I'm crazy because then I took the dog for a walk and they were like, oh, cute puppy. And I just went... And
no.
Gave him a
Okay,
look.
she just gave a very snide look.
That's what I feel bad about is the look because I did not have to do that. And they're my neighbors. I don't want to fight with my neighbors, but I'm thinking this is your first literal 6 hours on the block and you're taking more liberties than I'm comfortable with.
Well, I mean, at least they know you have a big dog.
Yeah.
So if they try anything...
But, okay, why was the dog scared of them when they were...
Oh, no.
I know, she totally made me look bad.
I was like, these people are fucking crazy. Get the hell out of
Yes,
here.
and I still don't even know, because there was 4 guys out there, and I still don't know which 2 of them actually live there, because it was move-in day, so they had helped unload the truck or whatever. So
I don't know why you're not salivating over that Toyota Corolla with rims.
Oh, okay, that's what... I didn't think that they were gonna... like retaliate really in any kind of violent way unless they're too into anime, then they might have swords. That's what I was thinking because they have stuffed Pikachus in their dashboard. Yeah.
See, I can't.
Yeah.
People that want to like adorn their vehicle with their personal interests.
Yeah.
I feel like should die in a head-on collision. Sorry to those with Pikachus on their dashboards. No, fuzzy dice, especially if you have your fucking tassel from high school that you what year you graduated,
Or
like
a baby shoe.
Yeah.
Just one baby
just
walking
the one.
shoe. Yeah, like what is going on here?
Whose shoes are those?
And now it's just gonna get sun bleached. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, you don't even have a kid. What?
Yeah, you spent like $90 on those Air Jordans for the kids that wore them for like
They
2
come
days.
in the package. Yeah, they hang on the wall.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I was thinking about. Is that like speaking of adorning stuff. I feel like there's a correlation, maybe a parallel to be drawn between people who put flags on their homes and bumper sticker people.
When you say flags, meaning
Any type.
just any sort of accoutrement.
Well, no, just if you have a flag outside of your home, it could say gardening, it could say spring, but anything, any flag that you're willing to fly from your home, those people I feel like also have bumper stickers. Like I went to Michael's today and there was a sticker for your car right by the checkout. So it was a last minute, ooh, I got to have this purchase.
An impulse buy.
And this is what it said. The more men I meet, the more I like my cat.
They know their demographic, bitch.
I was like, okay, even if you feel that way, bitch, you're going to put that on the back of the Subaru?
Oh,
really?
you don't know? I actually just stuck it on the back of your car before I came in here.
But like, there's not many things that I can think of that I'm that passionate about that I'm like, this needs to hang from my house or this needs to be...
I feel like there's even a bigger correlation between the people that buy that bumper sticker and how green their hair is. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay, they've switched out the commercials on Hulu lately because I don't have cable, and one of them is a insurance commercial. I honestly don't even know which company, but it's like how people turn into their parents after they buy their first home. That's the gist of it, and they're actually kind of funny commercials because, let's be honest, a lot of commercials are really not that good.
Right.
Sorry, are not that great these days. And but it is funny, and they have one where it's a whole bunch of dads at like a Home Depot garden center or whatever, and somebody walks by with green hair and they're like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. And like a couple seconds goes by and the guy goes, that guy had green hair, and they're like, you didn't have to say it, we all saw it.
Yeah,
like, it was
yeah.
like
Just pointing out the obvious.
Yes, they just cannot help themselves.
Yeah.
Like
I remember in high school, one of my best friends, I was very like prejudiced when I saw her at the bus stop because like my first day of high school was ninth grade. And I see all these new kids that I've never seen before because I was going to a different school that I was not zoned to go to Gibbs. I was zoned to go to Pinellas Park. And a girl comes walking up to the bus station with like bright purple hair. And this was back in like 2001 maybe.
When Manic Panic was the only option.
I mean, it was like we would call them freaks.
Yeah.
That was the freaks.
Yes, the freaks.
And then,
the corn kids.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I just remember like judging her so much. Like, look at this fucking freak with the purple hair. And now it's like there's old ladies walking around with a purple ombre going down to orange and at the nursing home. I'm like, wow, we've really adapted quite a bit since then.
Yeah, I just saw a lady at the store the other day putting stuff in her car, and she was old as hell and had like the old lady haircut, but the tips were like bright ass purple.
Do you, Marge?
When it infiltrates the retirement community, I feel like that's
when you know it's mainstream, right? When
Well,
when old women have adopted the
when
concept.
it's not too extreme for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they start piercing their noses, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like,
I was gonna say, like, what are the people gonna do that are the outsiders, like, to one up the game now? Like,
yeah, because it's not outrageous anymore if Ethel's doing it. Like,
but it is. It still is. Like, I'm judging you. If she's got a tongue ring at the.
if you live in the villages,
I was just gonna say, if she lives in the villages, they probably all got
they
some
need
like
a tongue ring
magnetic
because
ones.
they're like, hey, did you know that she can give you a little
A
helmet
tongue ring with
play
a blue chew attached to the end of it.
Yeah, oh my God. It recharges your jitterbug. Like,
Oh my god, yeah.
did you see them in the villages fighting?
Yes. Oh my god.
It was like the woke grandparents and the asshole grandparents were fighting.
I was
each other.
actually more shocked that there was people fighting against Trump people, like old people actually hating Trump.
Yeah.
That was shocking to me, especially in Florida.
I was proud actually. I was like, oh, look at them.
It's like, oh, there's at least 3 here.
Yeah, I know, and they're standing their ground. They don't care if it's going to exclude them from the orgies.
Right.
Now. They're still going to say what they have to say.
I was proud for Nadine or whomstever with her sign out there, and then I love that the one woman's like, that watch your language. It's like. And then she's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And like they're getting all into like this white person argument.
Well, when they were like, that's why your granddaughter doesn't visit.
Yeah.
That was
that really strikes a chord.
Oh my God, that is the ultimate grandparent put down.
Right. Yeah.
Because you always want to be the grandparent that the grandkids are obsessed with. Like that's once you have grandkids, that's your only goal in life is to be like the grandparent.
Yeah.
All you do is try to outdo the rest of the grandparents.
Right. And I always love how grandparents always embellish everything that their grandkids do. Like my grandmother used to fucking tell people, "Oh, he's in college now and he's getting ready to get he's going to be a surgeon." Like you can't tell people that, Graham, cuz it's not true.
Yeah, in 5 years, like whoever she told that to was like, "Did Hugh ever get his degree cuz I need a surgeon?" And she's like,
she fucking told my mom's ex-husband that I was going to school to be a lawyer, and now I'm getting fucking text messages from people from prison trying to get me to retain. Like, girl,
they think you're Kim
they
Kardashian.
think I can be
now.
retained. Yeah, like and like I'm telling, I'm not a lawyer. Like, oh well, we don't believe it. I'm like, no, bitch, for real. Like, I'm not a lawyer.
Oh my God.
But
that is hilarious.
I mean, I actually was going to school to be a pathologist, and then.
What is that?
A pathologist is the doctor's doctor. So if you get like a biopsy, they send it to the pathologist.
okay.
They do the testing, or like if you're in the middle of like a surgery, they do a thing called like a frozen section. So like if you're getting a tumor removed, they'll take a certain amount out around the tumor, and then like the pathologist will come in at that point in the surgery, look at it under a microscope. They'll make a slide right there in the surgery room and see if there's cancer in those cells. So it's like a way to they're just the ones that diagnose anything for the most part. Yeah. So I actually was gonna be a pathologist. Then I was gonna be a pharmacist because I was like, well, maybe that's easier, but chemistry sucked. And then I dropped out of college altogether. So like, fuck all this shit. Yeah, but yeah, don't ever give your grandparents any expectation of greatness because then they're gonna hold you to it and assume that that's what you're gonna do. But.
Grandparents are so competitive against other grandparents. Like, if you think about it, honestly, all they care about is, like, how can I one-up at bridge the next motherfucker?
Oh, honey, not my grandma. My grandma...
Okay, but your grandma...
My grandma was like, how can I one-up the whole neighborhood? How can I...
Your grandma was like ultimate thug misses. Like,
I was telling Amanda before the show, like, she was taking my aunts and my dad, like, to fucking Studio 54 in New York and Roseland.
yeah, like in the heart of disco, like they were living the dream.
Yeah.
Like,
She actually had an apartment in New York that she would have, it was like her fuck pad. I'm telling you, my grandma was a
my grandma never even learned how to drive, so I'm like, what the fuck?
She was in deep and that's back when New York was shiesty.
Like, yeah, it was like the crazy.
you just didn't go to New York because it was not looked upon as like a destination of,
yeah, muggings were like an actual event, not just like a thing that happens in
yeah, like
movies.
Times Square was full of like peep shows and porn shops and stuff. So yeah, it was not a place to bring your 16-year-old for her birthday, but that's what we did in the Carey family, bitch. So.
The Careys know how to get down.
But I do have a crazy neighbor story too.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait,
yeah.
what? You didn't say what got worse with your neighbor?
Oh, when I went outside with the dog and did the ultimate like petty bitch move when I like.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah,
oh.
that was, and I was like, I really could have gone.
So have
that.
we
I haven't
seen
them again since that happened. So I don't. They probably are like, this stupid bitch. Which, yeah, I am. But like,
I don't think you're a stupid bitch. But like, I understand at the same time, it's like. I do think you were a little bit overreactive with them being in front of the car. And I didn't want to say that because I wanted to validate your feelings. Because your feelings are valid. That's what my therapist tells me.
Okay, as valid as they might be, sometimes I act stupid. I will say that all day.
Yeah, you know.
Little things turn into big things very quickly and it's always stupid shit. Like, it's not actual problems like get out of control. It's always the stupidest shit where I'm like, that wasn't even that serious. But I just feel like now it's out of my hands because I know that the old grumpy people around here are going to have a problem with them.
Yeah, let the white people do
I was like, this is someone else's fight.
Let these crazy fucking people
because
around
they
the neighborhood.
do come home on their crotch rockets late at night and they're loud as fuck. Like, I can hear them inside the house. So I know that the old people are going to be pissed off. So I'm like, I don't even need to be mean to these people anymore because someone else
they're gonna hang themselves.
Yeah,
and it's
I was
gonna
like,
let the Palm Harbor policing people do it.
Yeah, so now I'm trying to be a nice neighbor, so hopefully there's no war.
Well, they better fucking watch out because if they park that crotch rocket in front of your car again, I feel like we're gonna see you on an episode of Snapped.
I feel like if this would have happened a week prior or a week after, it would not have escalated the way it did in my head. But I'm telling you, last night I ate all that food at your house, then I came home and ate that cannoli.
Oh, you did eat the cannoli?
Yes,
I did too, and I was like, I wonder if Amanda ate hers.
I ate candy, and
we drank a whole bottle of rosé.
Yeah, and I had a chocolate chip cookie. Like, the period is about to happen. So it...
Understandable.
Unfortunately, they moved in on the wrong time of the cycle.
You know what? You should just have a shirt that says that, so that way they understand.
I'm about to bleed, bitch.
Yeah,
like, back up.
Stay the fuck away.
Yeah, things are about to get
on
crazy.
the rag.
Okay, what happened with your neighbor?
I had this crazy. First of all, as all white people like to say, we had renters next door. Because they love to say that.
Yes.
They're not homeowners, they're renters.
Yeah,
as if it's like any better or worse.
But it's like renters have a deposit on the line, so I feel like
I have established equity in my property.
Yeah.
You don't.
Listen, I'm
you
trying
make
to get
poor
that
life
1800
decisions.
back, bitch.
Yeah. So this lady next door moved in to the right of me, and I live on a corner, and there's like her backyard faces the front of my house.
Mm-hmm.
So my house faces towards the west and hers faces towards the north. Mm-hmm. So her fence goes down the side of like part of my house, and I was sitting outside at this point. Back when I was smoking. I was outside having a cigarette, and I could see in her backyard that she was like raising up a shovel, and then it was a rake. She had a rake in her hand, and she lifted it up, and it was a metal rake, and she slammed it on the ground, and I heard a dog squeal. This bitch literally had a whole group of puppies in her backyard, and she was hitting them with a metal rake.
What?
Yes, so I fucking lost my shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and at the time, my cousin who has a landscaping business, he parked, he has like a trailer, like a, what do you call it? I don't know. It's like a trailer, not like a horse trailer kind of thing.
Like
what do they call it?
Closed-in
It was a closed-in
yeah.
trailer, and I would let him park it on the side of my house where there's like a little alley. So I got up on the hitch of the trailer, and I looked over the fence. I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she goes, "Mind your goddamn business." I'm like, if I see you hit this dog one more time with this rake, I said, I'm going to jump this fence. I'm going to beat your ass with that rake. And
Love it, yes.
Then she called the cops on me. I just left it at that. I said, don't hit those dogs again. I said, because I promise you, I'll have them taken away. Because I went full Karen on her ass, but for good reason.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes
these are
people
puppies, like little puppies, not like baby puppies, but I mean, like a couple months old.
Yeah.
And I know that one had to have been in pain from being hit with the metal rake. So I go back inside. I'm minding my business, and I get a knock on the door, and I see this fucking fat ass cop come out, and I'm just like, oh great. So he comes to the door. He goes, "Oh, I'm here because your neighbor called, and why did you go in her backyard?" And I'm like, "Excuse me?" He says, "Yeah, she said you jumped the fence and came in the backyard and started threatening her." I said, "First of all, do you see the person that you're looking at right now?"
Yeah.
It's like, do you think I could just pole vault over that 6-foot fence?
Yeah, hold on. Let me get my...
Yeah, I mean, and I told him, like, first of all, I didn't go in the backyard. I said I got on the trailer hitch, and I showed him, like, I stood there. I said, and she was beating the dogs with the metal rake. I said, if anything, you need to go over there and take the dogs. So ever since that point, shit got real bad. Like, it just, because I called her out.
Yeah.
And I think she may have been a crackhead. I'm not 100% sure. But, like, one time she was standing at the corner of the fence, like, looking at my house. And it was during Halloween, and I had a pumpkin. I was carving a pumpkin. And I had, like, just set it out on the front porch. And she's just standing at the corner of the fence looking at me. And I'm like, can I help you? Like, is there something? Because Lucy was barking and was going crazy because someone was standing there. And she just goes off on this tirade. And I'm like, listen, crackhead, like, I can't with you. She's like, I'm going to get my daughter to come over here and beat your ass. I said, well, when she gets off her shift on 4th Street.
Wait a minute. Who calls? Who says, not my son, not
her
my
daughter.
husband, not my uncle. I'm going to call my daughter in here to whoop your
That was
ass.
saying, like, she was out of it. She was not mentally sane. And then, like, we had a whole thing, and then she called the cops on me again, and she told the cops that I smoke crack. I'm like, well, let's see who can, like, speak in complete sentences right now.
Yeah.
I said, because it's definitely not this bitch. So anyways, another incident, she had moved out, and I didn't know that she had left, and they were redoing the house, and I thought that they were just doing home improvements, and I got a knock on the door, and it was the guy that owned the house, right? I thought it was just one of the workers, and the guy that owned the house knocked on the door. He goes, "Oh, hi, I'm working next door. The water's off at the moment. Do you mind if I take a little bit of water and fill this bucket up with your hose?" I said, fuck no. I said, if it's anything to help that bitch next door, I said, not for me. No, you can't have no water. And his face, like, turned white. And he's like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like, I don't want to do anything that's going to help that bitch. I said, she gives me nothing but problems. She constantly is starting issues with me. She's always got an issue with something. And he's like, oh, no, she doesn't live here anymore. I'm like, oh. And he's like, I own the house. We're fixing it up. She tore it to pieces inside. I said, well, in that case, help yourself.
Yes.
I was like, but his face, like,
as long as it's not going to Bridget, yes, you can have some.
And then I found out she was fucking the guy down the street who has, like, a mentally disabled child. And she was going over there to her house. And it was just, it's Pinellas Park. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, listen.
So, yeah.
Sometimes... Well, that just reminded me, when I was with my ex-husband, the house that we lived in together that we bought, the neighbors there were that lady. They were that person on the block that everyone hated. There had been multiple runs-in with the police, like all kinds of stuff. And people didn't know that we bought the house. And they would call code enforcement on us every week for something. And we were like, we're trying to fix up this house, but it doesn't happen overnight. And then finally, one day, the neighbor behind us called on something. I forget what it was. And we mentioned it to the old owner. And the guy was like, oh, that's because one time... we were lighting off fireworks, and the guy got really pissed, and he came over and told us we better shut our mouth, and my dad beat his ass in the backyard.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and pulled a gun on him.
Oh.
Yeah, so they thought that those people still lived in the house, so they were like, fuck these people, let's get them any way we can. But yeah, these people were having fist fights in the backyard. Like...
And this is during a time not like now. So
no.
And things are so much more heightened.
Yeah, this
was I
2005.
can't imagine what kind of shit that woman's getting into, or those people. It just, with the whole idea of, like, people are so on edge right now. Like, the last thing I would want to do is start drama with my neighbors.
And people who don't know how to act, even when times are tough, it's not going to make them know how to act. So they're still acting up in public.
Right.
And those are the people that you see having the freakouts at Walmart. Like,
oh yeah. Well, and I have other neighbors 2 houses down that have some really crazy kids. Like, one night there was a police helicopter escort, and, like, all these cops just swarmed the house because these kids were stealing cars. and I guess they had
Okay,
caught
why
them.
is that a thing? Now, like,
I don't
teenagers
know.
are stealing cars around here at a like.
I
those
mean,
girls,
we were stealing beer out of the fridge. Now they've really upped the ante.
exactly. I know. I was like, what the fuck?
And to steal a car nowadays with like all the technology, is it like just the thrill of hacking a car to get the door open? Like I don't understand
know.
it.
I can't even understand because nothing can be that thrilling that also comes with a possible 5-year sentence in jail. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I would never. Stealing a car never came across my
And
mind.
now there's Uber, bitch. What are you doing?
I know.
If you need a ride somewhere, get together your $10 and get it together. Like,
Literally, and unless it's just so easy to steal a car that I don't know, and maybe they just have an app like Uber's like, oh, this car's here, unlock, boom, let's get the fuck out of here.
I don't know. I've never even thought about I should try to steal a car. Like,
Oh, let's do it. Let's see how well we are able to adapt to what the young kids are doing.
this is like something that would be. Remember that movie with what was it? The blonde teacher that went to the inner city school, Coolio's Gangster Paradise.
Yeah.
Dangerous Minds. Is that
Dangerous
what it's called?
Minds. I thought you were gonna say Gone in 60 Seconds for a second, but of course it's Dangerous
Is that Jason
Minds.
Statham?
Gone in 60. No, that was Nicolas Cage, and Angelina Jolie was in that too.
Oh, wait, I'm thinking about Taken. Right? Is that him?
No, that's
Oh,
Liam
fuck.
Neeson, bitch.
I don't know anything about action movies. I'm like, wait.
Back to Gangster's Paradise.
Back to Gangster's Paradise. Why was that the thing in the 90s? Was like the white lady or the white person came in from the suburbs to
Yes.
to
What
fix
was the
the
one with Julia Child, or what's her name? Julia.
Oh, when they were dancing.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
forget.
god. And
Save the Last Dance.
was it
that
Save
it?
the Last Dance? I think so.
I don't know, but and who was the guy that she danced with?
She started doing like hip hop and was dancing with the black guy.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. Like if you ever see like a clip from that, like back in the day, I was like, oh, she's jamming. She's
Do you watch Bob's Burgers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen the episode where him and Teddy go to the hip hop dance class and the
No,
guy's
I
like,
didn't see that one.
It was a white guy teaching it, and he was like, "This is hip hop. This is how you do it." Like everything he did had like that's what it reminds me of. It's like you got to do this if you want to be hip hop. Like it.
I don't think there really is a way to teach being cool if you're trying to have that swagger.
No.
Like, come on.
If you have to go to unless you're just born Jennifer Lopez, you probably don't have it. Like there's.
But even Jennifer Lopez had to do a little stint on In Living Color with some combat boots to get to where she was.
Yeah.
Bitch had to crawl before she walked, okay?
But I don't think that rhythm is like something you can teach, is what I'm saying. Like
No,
you can
no.
learn how to harness it, but if you don't got it, you don't got it.
You gotta harness it. By perspective, I'm going to envision I'm gonna manifest my rhythm.
Yes. How am I? Yeah, you have to do like a mantra, I think, to get your rhythm together. That's how I imagine.
First of all, that is not the way to do it because only white people have mantras, and a mantra is not going to get you to the end. You're not going to cross the finish line with the mantra.
It was a good thought. A for
Sorry.
effort. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Oh my God. What? Okay, I think we have time for like one more topic. Oh, Unsolved Mysteries.
Unsolved Mysteries or the teacher thing?
Oh, we could go both, honestly. We could
All right.
go a little bit over. But I was just thinking about my.
Did you watch the Alien episode?
I have not.
Bitch.
I know.
All right, so let's talk about it. The new Unsolved Mysteries,
On Netflix.
they're redoing
Yes.
it, or they've redone it. It's on Netflix.
6 episodes, I think.
I was very disappointed because I ran through them bitches quick.
Yes, and they're
binged
like
them.
an hour. I think they're like 50 minutes a piece or something. But they don't have the narrator anymore, which I've heard people
Robert
complain
Stack,
about.
That was me.
Is he still alive?
Girl?
What?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
He smoked like a chimney. I'm pretty sure. Like he
Is
had
Angela
that real
Lansbury
deep
still
voice.
alive?
If you know any information connected with this
That is
case,
between
contact us
Unsolved
now.
Mysteries and America's Most Wanted,
oh yeah, America's
we're like
Most
the
Wanted.
first like crowdsourcing. Like, let's get this shit together.
And I actually remember back in the day, Unsolved Mysteries would do like recap episodes, and they would revisit certain episodes where they did solve the crime.
Yeah.
So it does
worked.
work. Now, I was saying on Facebook, like, that show used to scare the shit out of me
Ooh,
as
there's
a
thunderstorm
kid.
coming if you hear
Like, literally, when the intro came on, I would
It
be
has
asleep.
the same creepy intro music,
Yeah.
like from the original.
It would be like 2 a.m, and for whatever reason, my gay ass left my TV on WeTV or Lifestyle or whatever.
Yeah, Lifetime.
Or
yeah.
Lifetime. Lifestyles. And I'd be woken up at like 2 a.m. to that really eerie, creepy sounding music.
She's never been seen again, and you're like, ah.
So I'd be like, oh my God, well, I made it through the intro. Now I've got to watch. And then like that guy was so good at like just portraying the crime. And it's like, I would question myself at like 9 years old, be like, do I know anything about this? Do I have information that could lead to the arrest?
Yes. Have I seen anybody matching this description?
It's like this took place in Hawaii. I live in Florida. I feel like I am obliged to call them. Like that's how good he was. But yeah, like it's not the same without him, but the production quality is good and the stories are good.
Yes, the stories are very good.
So which story do you feel was the weakest? That I literally felt like I could have solved it. I didn't even need to see the whole episode for the hair cutting one. I don't want to give out any spoilers.
Oh, yeah, no spoilers, but well, I mean there is no spoilers because they're unsolved. So this is all projection.
No, bitch. Georgia, they need to up their game because Georgia is lost their mind.
Let me just tell you that anytime anything is in Georgia, I don't fucking trust it because I have listened to enough true crime podcasts to know that you do not trust the GBI. Georgia Bureau of Investigation is a bunch of fuckboys. They don't know shit. I listened to this whole...
I literally think Police Academy in Georgia is to chug a suitcase of Bud Ice, and that's it. That's all you got to do.
Okay, there's this... do you watch true crime stuff?
Sometimes.
Do you know anything about the Adnan Syed story? He got accused of killing his high school girlfriend, and it was the
didn't he just get out of jail recently for it?
Well, no, but they wanted to reopen his case. They had a documentary on Netflix about it, and it got really popular from this podcast called Serial. And that was the entire first season was about his case and how it's like very plausible that he actually is not the killer. And this guy is like, I think he's like 38 now, and he's been in prison since he was 18 years old for killing his girlfriend. And they kind of don't think like there's enough evidence for reasonable doubt that he did not do it. But there was another podcast that covered it called Undisclosed, and their second season was on this case that happened in Georgia where it was like the most redneck shit you've ever heard in your life, this whole story. It was all these kids in this podunk town, and they all had, like, beef with each other because they were, like, macho country boys or whatever. And one of them got shot on the highway, and they thought, they totally blamed it on this one guy that he had a loose beef with in high school, and this happened like a couple
loose
years.
Beef.
Yeah, it was like one disagreement.
I'm thinking of like Aunt Jackie from Roseanne, like a loose meat sandwich. Laurie Metcalf's got beef with somebody in Georgia.
Yeah, deli counter supreme. No, it was just like one disagreement in high school over a girl or something like that, and they thought that like 4 years later he had this elaborate plan to kill this guy on the highway. And the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
Maybe he parked his crotch rocket in front of his car.
Well,
he snapped.
Listen, I already apologized.
I'm gonna always give you shit about that just to fuck with you.
Like I feel like I do have the tiniest Karen deep in my soul. Like it's not prevalent, but it's like I have to fight the urge sometimes. But sometimes
we all have a Karen.
Sometimes I have that little voice like, "Don't let him get you," and I'm like, and another thing.
We all have I told you about my Karen moment.
Sometimes we all want to fucking go off about some petty shit. It just happens sometimes.
Right. So loose beef.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say from their handling of that case, and they put another high schooler in jail forever, and there was like a lot of evidence that pointed to it wasn't him. And so I don't trust Georgia Bureau of Investigation because they dropped the ball.
I mean, the first thing that the guy says in the episode is the husband of the missing woman was... I have a degree in criminology. And
she had told all of her friends that she wasn't happy. Like, because everyone said that this is what everyone says. They were the perfect couple. Like,
no, they always say she had a smile that lit up a room. They always do. And I was like, Tom, if I ever become missing, tell him he sucked the air out of the room. He was a terrible person. He deserved to die. Let's flip the script. But it's for real. She had a smile that lit up the room. It's like, well, bitch, you're going to become missing.
Yeah, because someone... And it's always like this. I feel not always, but usually these stories happen too when the woman is like above the man, and like she was a 30-year-old, like she was the talk of the town, and he was like 55 at the time, and it was like, how did you even land this woman?
He looked like Wilford Brimley. And just was bloated and gross.
Yeah,
and fat.
But he was.
And then he hated the son. Like he had such this like disdain for this child that had done nothing to him. And he kept saying, oh, he was jealous of me. Of what? Because you're fucking his mom? Like, what? Where's the jealousy gonna lie? I understand, like, with a step parent, you could be jealous if they're taking up their time.
Did you ever have a step parent?
Girl, I had 2 stepmoms.
Oh.
Yeah, girl.
Did they both suck or they were good?
No, my first stepmom was great. My second stepmom, bitchosaurus, cunosaurus rex. She was terrible.
That's my word. Like, I never had, my mom never got married. My mom was married before I was born. My parents were never married together. And she never got remarried after that, so I never had a stepdad. My dad did get a wife that I never had a problem with up until she passed away a couple years ago, 3 years ago, I think. And I never had a problem with the lady ever until right before she died. She started getting crazy. She, like, made a crazy Facebook post and blocked me on Facebook one time because it was during the election. So she passed away in early 2017 because in the elections of 2016, she blocked me because I said that I didn't like Hillary Clinton. And she was like...
That was such a mess that
year.
year.
She was like, one day you're going to grow up and learn how to be a real woman. And then blocked me. And I was like...
Yeah, because that's how a real woman fucking reacts to another woman.
But she had been struggling. She had cancer, like, off and on. And she had, like... gone into remission with one and got another. It was just like, you know when people get cancer and it just, like, eventually gets in everything?
Right, yeah.
She was like that, but it didn't happen all at once. It was like she would get rid of one and then get another, whatever. And it was fucked up because right at the end of her life, she started being a total bitch.
Maybe she had it all bottled up and she's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to die. Let me just share how I really
maybe
feel
she's
about
always hated
everything.
me. I don't know, but I was like, oh, okay, well...
Well,
Hillary
not to
Clinton
usurp
sucks,
your
but-
situation with your stepmom, but my stepmom convinced my dad to stick me in JDC. So,
which is the Juvenile Detention Center.
for those that are not
Yes.
up on the acronyms.
I never went, but my friend Brittany did.
AKA Bad Boy School.
Shout out to Brittany for going to JDC. And that was one night that I stayed home from a party and all my friends got arrested that night. And I was like,
no.
yes. Yeah.
She actually convinced my dad. He had to pay $500.
I didn't know you could get people like committed to JDC.
Because I was so out of hand. She couldn't handle it. She
What
couldn't
was it?
handle it anymore. I remember, this is a quick story. This is what happened. It was during the summer. We had just me and my friend David went to Blockbuster. We rented The Matrix. It had just come out on VHS. We went to my house to watch it. My parents were gone for whatever reason. We were just at the house, watched the movie, and then we left because we were bored with it. Halfway through, we went to his house. I get a phone call at his house from my dad saying, you need to get the fuck home right now. And I'm like, oh no, what's wrong? I'm like, well, what's wrong? He said, get the fuck home now. So my parents had this clock that someone gave them. It was like a fancy like wedding gift.
Clock?
Well, not a great, no, it was like something hung on the wall, but it was for their wedding and it commemorated their wedding date. It was like just some garbage fucking things remembered piece of trash that means nothing other than sentimental value. I guess it had fallen off the wall and it broke. And how it fell and like where it was positioned in the middle of the living room was creepy as fuck. Like for it to be out that far was weird. So he's like, you did this on purpose. You're trying to send a message. You guys were doing something in this house. I had nothing to do with this clock. And then, so like there was this, tensions were high in the house. And like the next day, Beth said, I shouldn't say her name. My stepmom said something to me and I gave her like a smart ass remark. So she called my dad. She made him come home from work. I'm like in the bathroom brushing my teeth. He comes in, he pushes me into the bathtub, starts beating me. He goes, that's it. I'm done with you. I'm done with you. And then she convinced him like, you got to do something with this kid because it's too much. And I don't know how like they figured it out, but he literally paid to bring me to JDC. And I remember him saying, he's like, you better have your alarm clock set for 4 a.m. because your ass is going. And I thought he was joking. Like, I'm like, nobody can do that.
Yeah,
like, it's not a real thing.
I'm a grown adult and I'm like,
Girl,
you can't do that.
He woke my ass up at 4 a.m. and I still thought it was a joke all the way to the point to where we actually entered.
Oh my God. Yeah, they like put the cuffs on and you're like, okay, JK, right, Dad?
Yes.
Right, Dad?
They literally did. And I'm like, he's joking. And I'm like taking my sweet ass time to get ready.
God.
And then all of a sudden this real big, like huge black cop comes out, pulls me out of the truck, handcuffs me.
Because you're thinking it's like Scared Straight, right? Like they're
Well,
like just gonna like yell at you to like act right.
That's basically what it was.
Oh, okay.
It was like a Scared Straight thing, but it was just me,
Did it
him yelling in
straighten
my
you out?
face. Huh?
Did it straighten you out?
If anything, it just made me hate my parents even more.
Yeah.
But like, that was my stepmom. Like she would wash my clothes and I would have like a random bleach spot would show up.
Oh my
God. So like I understand the issues that can come along with like having a step parent, but as the adult in this situation,
to be the adult, like antagonizing a child, what are you doing?
it's like I was not even jealous. I was glad that she was taking my dad's time away from me. It's like I didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
But like this guy literally had that level of like disgust towards this child.
In the day that the mom disappeared, he was like, "Yeah, I think I remember changing the locks." And then
he said he changed the locks and locked the kid out because he didn't want to have that negativity in the house. He
started it off a little bit soft, saying, "Yeah, I think I remember changing the locks that day." And then at the end of the story, he was like, "Well, frankly, I just didn't like him, and there was too much animosity to allow."
What really made me go when I almost fucking screamed is when he's like, "I slept with her ashes when they laid the bones out at the fucking cemetery because he wanted to see her one last time
and kiss the skull."
It's like, first, listen here, Shakespeare. Macbeth.
Exactly.
No one's buying those crocodile tears. And then he sleeps with the ashes in his bed.
And he won't let the son even have a tablespoon of the ashes. How petty are you, bitch?
And you know how, I don't know if you ever come across cremains.
Oh yeah, I have some in my...
stink.
Oh, do they?
Bro.
I've never opened it.
Oh,
I have some of my grandfather's ashes, but yeah.
But to have that laying in your bed, because he only had them in the box in the bag, so he's literally laying in his bed with these stank ass. It's dead body. It's cremated body. It does not smell pleasant.
This reminds me of my favorite and worst episode of My Strange Addiction, the lady who ate her husband's ashes. Did you ever see that episode?
Of course somebody did that.
She would lick her finger and get it wet and put it in and taste it. And she was like, I've got to get help for this because there's not going to be any left.
Well, here's how I know ghosts may not be real. Because I'll tell you what. If I was that bitch, I would be up in that police station haunting the fuck out of that place. Yeah. How many hauntings are going unnoticed at a police station that we don't know that are dead people saying, "Hey bitch,
well, not
here's
even at
where
the
you need to look."
Station. Wouldn't you haunt the motherfucker that killed you? Wouldn't you make...
No.
What do you mean? You wouldn't ruin their life?
I feel like that guy's pretty much ruined his own life. He got what he wanted. He's got a piece of her that he can like put in this glass menagerie. He's this twisted psycho. Ugh. He obviously killed her. But I'm saying, if someone murdered me, I would be up in that police station getting everybody's attention. I'd be throwing handcuffs across the room. I'd be taking guns out of holsters and shit. Like that's what I would do. Billy Bats
would be upside heads. Like,
yeah, there'd be some shit going down.
Look into this case, motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like, but then again, maybe you can't breach the line of a police station.
The only thing I will say about that case in particular was that was one of the only, that one, and I think the first one.
The jumping out, the guy that fell through the hole.
Yeah, it was like those and the French one were the only ones where the police were like, "We believe you and we're on your side. We just don't have any evidence." But
the French one though is like they actually know.
Oh yeah, well, but the other ones, they were like the guy Alonzo, who they thought was...
That was a hate crime, straight up.
Oh my god, that story was
that
so crazy.
Pissed me off. And I actually said when I was watching, I was like, they have him, and now they're gonna let the family go look for him, and now all of a sudden he just appears when they just literally had 40 agents out there looking for him.
But do you think that his friends were involved at all? That had
not the one with the hat, not the fat Bubba one with the hat, but the one that looks like he was like taking OxyContin on a regular basis for the last 30 days at a minimum. Yeah, he was oxyed the fuck up and guilty as fuck.
I couldn't trust any word that he said because any grown man who is wearing a Hollister labeled T-shirt,
First of all, it's one thing to wear a Hollister T-shirt in your 30s in Florida, bitch. This is in the up in the cut, Kansas.
Weren't they in Kansas or Missouri? Yeah.
Topeka, Kansas.
And he was like 26 years old wearing a Hollister long sleeve shirt with the little logo on the side.
That's probably the last time he went shopping, which is when his mom bought it for him, which was probably for high school.
When he was 17 years old. That's what I was like.
But he could never look, like if you ever pick up on people's cues, like their body cues, he couldn't look the interviewer in the face. He kept looking up, which like when that's a signal, like if someone keeps looking up, they're thinking about something, which means it's possible that they're either fabricating a story or they're having to like think of something.
What they want to say next.
It's not in the front of his mind. Because what was interesting about him, it's like all of a sudden he left to go get cigarettes and then just decided he got lost.
And the guy had already gotten into an argument with people at that party before.
And he was the only black guy there.
Why would you...
Bumfuck Kansas.
If your friend already had an altercation with other dudes at the party, even if things had calmed down, why would you leave him there alone?
Yeah, I mean, I do think he went to get cigarettes. Either the people at the party, I'm just wanting to know who at that house was related to a police officer. Somebody had to be related to a cop, an agent, an FBI agent, somebody that works at the police station, because there's no way that would have gone
And they didn't
down.
want the family's help in the investigation at all. They were like, stop calling here.
And they're the ones that found the shoes, right? The brother found the shoes in the road.
The very next day, the friend found his shoes. Because they drove back out there the next day to look.
And they wouldn't let him on the property.
Yeah, and that's when they made the report. The brother and a couple friends went down there, and that's when they found his shoes and... Was it a shirt or jeans? Something. They found
his beanie.
Yeah, his hat. They found his boots and his hat in the ditch across the street, and then that's when they were like, "Get out of town," pretty much.
So I think he either was hit by a car and like somebody freaked out and didn't know what to do and either took him, or the guy he was fighting with at the party murdered him, which is probably what happened.
Yeah.
And had the right people in his life to cover it up, because you just don't.
The people who survived going to that party even said, "Oh, there was racial slurs being thrown around, all this shit." If that is you're not looking out for your friend if you take them to an environment like that, and even if you didn't know it was like that, once you get there and you see that it's a hostile environment for your friend, why would you ever leave them?
They lived in Topeka, which already is, a red area.
Yeah.
Probably not very inviting for people that aren't white. And then they're going to this party an hour and a half away in the country. And it's literally on a farm. Like, I don't have to be a fucking brain surgeon and be like, I'm probably not going to be welcomed here.
Well, when I hear stuff like that, it makes me think about, and I think that you...
Like, I wouldn't invite my friends that are black to go to Oklahoma in the middle of nowhere, like, knowing... Yeah. The mindset of the people are probably going to be...
You have to think ahead and think, is this a hostile environment to bring my friend into or not? Like, at a certain point, people have responsibility for that kind of shit. So
it's crazy. I do think that the first guy, the Hollister shirt, has something to do with it, because you can tell that he's got some serious pent up shit.
Yeah.
And the way he was looking at the camera during the interview, but I don't know. At least they got him back, because I know the mother, she could barely like talk in full sentences. You could tell she was like really just distraught. Obviously her fucking kid was murdered, so I don't know. But you didn't watch the Alien episode?
No, because let me tell you something, is that Aliens is the one thing that like really scares me sometimes. So I have to be in... Listen,
okay, hold on.
It makes no sense.
Okay, what are you scared of?
I don't know. I really don't know. But paranormal shit and aliens really freak me out.
Did you see something at my house last night? Because I saw you look out of the corner of your eye.
No.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
I always forget that your house is haunted. I know. I always forget that.
Okay. I was like, I didn't want to bring it to your attention.
Oh, actually, I'm glad that I forgot that, because I was totally relaxed last night. No.
Oh, okay. Because I remember you were like a cat. You kind of just like peered off to the corner, and I'm like,
but also I was high, so I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I get so scared. Like,
right.
There's no rationale to it, but I feel like I have to like prepare myself to watch the Alien episode, and I don't know why. I can watch real people get murdered all day, but when it comes to like stuff that can't be proven, like aliens,
so you're
and ghosts,
xenophobic. You are literally xenophobic.
Fuck.
On a fundamental level.
But I'm trying to do better.
No, I'm not going to say it.
What?
I was like, all aliens' lives matter, okay?
They do. Listen.
We need to be welcoming.
Are you a gray? Are you like, what are the other kinds of aliens?
I don't know. There's like Nordic aliens, and then there's like the Pleiades, the reptilians.
What you just said reminded me when we were coming back from Orlando. Oh, wait. Oh, this is one thing that I did want to talk to you about before we got off. When we went to Orlando the other day to go ziplining. And so driving has been on my mind a lot lately, because my daughter's turning 15 on the day that this episode comes out. So she's going to get her driving permit. And
her what?
Her driving permit.
You said drivering?
Listen, I'm too White Claw deep.
You are
and
White Clawed up. And you mixed fruit. You did natural lime and black cherry, so there's a fight happening within your GI
there's a lot
system.
going on right now. But I was just thinking about it, and we were talking about, because her friend is getting her permit 2 days after Allie does, And she was telling me that her friend asked, "Oh, who's teaching you to drive, your mom or your dad?" And Allie was like, "Oh, my dad is, whatever." And the friend says, "Oh yeah, because if you go with Amanda, she's gonna like her road rage is gonna rub off on you."
Do you have road rage?
I didn't think so.
Well, apparently you do, bitch. Bitch, you got road rage with parked cars in the front of your house. Let alone, I can't imagine you driving down 19.
Apparently I do, because the teenagers are talking about it. And when my daughter told me that, I started cracking up because I was like, oh my God, what have I done that has made this child think that like, ooh, she's angry? But
oh my God.
I feel like I only am a retaliatory. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Retaliatory, aggressive drive. Because I never start shit, but I feel like people always try me on the road.
It's that bumper sticker you put on the back of your car.
Yeah, move
it's all
over,
those
bitch.
incels that are pissed that you choose cats over
like,
men.
This is some shit that happened to me the other day. I was at the light at the ramp trying to get back onto 19, and I was the second or third car back, and the car in front of me, the light turned green, yes, but the car in front of me hadn't started going yet, and the car behind me.
So when that happens, do you do a quick little beep,
no.
do you just lay it on?
Well, no, this is what I mean. This didn't even involve me in that car, but the car in front of me had not started going yet, and the car behind me whips around me and cuts me off at the light because I didn't go, but there was nowhere for me to go yet.
Oh, so they were mad at you as if you were the problem.
Yeah, so like that person, yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? But I didn't start that.
Yeah, you're not brandishing your pistol over
Yeah, so I'm
it.
like, I don't know if that's what they're thinking is road rage, but the kids don't have a good impression
I
of
used
me.
to have really bad road rage.
So I'm just like, God damn. But on the way home from that trip to Orlando, my daughter, what were we just talking about? Because
Your daughter's driver's permit.
Before that, on the way back, something happened that I was going to tell you. Fuck.
You went zip lining.
God damn it. Now I'm not going to remember.
You should have wrote it down.
But and before we left, we also wanted to talk about our psychedelic experience together.
Oh, do we want to go there?
We can go there if you want to.
I don't care.
Willing and open, because it was.
So, okay, you had only done.
That was that was my second time taking mushrooms, but that was my first time actually tripping.
Okay.
Like the first time
So
I did take
you actually were tripping.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Amanda and I am partial to a little psychedelic experience.
And that's why I was like, I trust Hugh. Like, he knows what's up.
But yeah, the tides turned that night, girl. So I was like, all right, I'll facilitate a fun experience for you, whatever. Got the shrooms. And we did like 2.5 grams each, I think, right?
Yeah.
It was like almost 2.5 grams, which is not a light. It's not a light dose, but it's not like, you can't function.
Yeah, you're
walk.
not like going over the fucking rainbow.
Yeah, you're not like into the void. Although, like they say, 5 dried grams of mushrooms is what they call the heroic dose.
Oh yeah, and I remember you were mixing them up, and you were like, "Oh, we're not doing anything crazy. It's not like a hero's dose or heroic dose."
Yeah, they call it a heroic dose because there's a potential that you could have like what they call ego death, which is like you lose all sense of self, kind of like ayahuasca and like DMT and all that. But you really do need a lot of that for that to happen. And it's not a pleasant experience. Like people that do that usually don't have a lot of, they have a lot of insight, but it's not like a pleasurable thing to not know, to lose sense of yourself, and to just not exist. But anyways, so I was like, it's 2.5 grams, not too much. We go and got food. I did not eat the whole day, which is probably part of my problem. And
well, I didn't either, because you had told me you're like, don't eat it, because we had gone. That was the day that we went snorkeling.
Y'all went snorkeling.
Yeah, so I had just been like snacking during the daytime light stuff, like fruit and stuff, because you were saying like don't eat
nothing too heavy. Yeah, and because you don't want, because like it can fuck up you can get like GI issues or whatever. And you don't want like salty or spicy stuff. And then of course we go and get fucking Poke Bowls.
Yeah, we get Poke Bowls. Yeah, we're like with extra wasabi, please.
Yeah, so we put them in the lemon juice, which already starts like the digestion process. It like breaks down the alkaloids in the psilocybin. It starts to convert it to psilocin. And then
chemistry set up.
Yeah, well, but it's better that way too, because it's also less harsh on your stomach, and the process has already started, so that kicks in a little quicker. With that being said,
it was like time warp.
Girl, I am never in my life have I taken mushrooms and they kicked in within, I'm going to say, 7 to 8 minutes. Maybe.
It was so fast because I wasn't expecting it either, because I remember you said, it'll take, because once you like edibles, it's like usually like a 45 minutes before.
It's about like 20 minutes is like the quickest that's ever happened to me prior to this. Like 20 to 30 minutes if you haven't eaten nothing all day. And then like that's why I like to eat after I take it, because it's giving my stomachs more than just
you get a
the
little base
mushrooms.
going.
Yeah. And I just remember me and Amanda were sitting in the same spots that we're sitting right now, and I was sitting there eating my poke bowl, and she was eating her poke bowl, and I literally we looked at each other at the
we
exact
both looked
same
over
time,
with just like this smile, like.
and I'm like, no, this can't be hitting already.
Yeah, like, do you feel it? Because I feel it. And we both were like.
And I told her, I was like, oh, if this is where we're starting, this is gonna be a very long night. It's gonna be
And it did, because that was like 7.
I didn't leave till like 2.
Yeah.
I just remember at one point I was sitting here in your living room looking at the wall, and I kept seeing, those, I think I told you, those like big bricks in Mario Brothers that would fall from the top. You had like to jump through them. They look like they're like stones with faces on them. I kept seeing those falling on your wall, and I'm like, I was losing it. And then but you're over here, and I'm trying not to have like a crazy moment, because I went deep.
Having so much fun.
I went inward, you went outward.
Yeah, I was like, this is great. And you're like, it's not the best, but.
Well, I was trying to not make it bad for you, but the thing is, like, with psychedelics.
And you never did. Like, I knew that you weren't having as good of a time as I was, but like your bad time didn't make my time bad.
Right, and that was my main priority. But like, that's the thing. Like, sometimes you could take a little bit and have like a crazy experience. Sometimes you could take a lot and not have anything. This was just one of those nights that I was in such a good mood. I was so excited to come over, gonna do this, and then I'm like, oh no, this came on so quick. And I knew when we started to go out walking around.
Yeah, we kept going on walks.
We got out of the house because you just kept saying, I need to move. I feel like I just got.
I start getting like the Prancer size energy, and I'm like, we just need to go.
And I'm like, let's get the fuck out of this house.
Yeah.
So we walk around, and then like, I know Amanda's like, do you feel the ground? Do you notice the ground is much more pronounced? I'm like, honey, you're on drugs. And then like she takes her shoes off. She's like touching the sidewalk. I'm like, the optics of this in your neighborhood are not good.
I have to say, in my defense, there was one square of sidewalk that was not like the rest. It was not a fine concrete. It was like the kind with pebbles in it. And it looked like, it reminded me of the foam pad that used to be at like a play place or like under a playground. And that's what it looked like. And I was like, I just have to see if it feels like it. I have to know.
Did it?
So I got down on my hands and knees, and I'm touching the concrete like a fucking...
She's like reading the concrete like braille.
Yeah,
she's like Helen Keller down there, and I'm over here. What's her name? The assistant. What was Helen Keller's assistant's name?
Oh my god, I don't know.
Fuck, that would have been funny if I'd have said it. But you're down there like on your hands and knees touching the ground, and I'm like looking up at the sky, and it was getting really dark, and there was all these electrical wires, so I could hear like a buzzing, and I'm like,
and there was a storm somewhere in the area, like
like lightning.
Yeah,
bad.
You could hear it off in the distance and stuff, and we're like, should we go in? But we don't want to go in.
But this is what fucked me up. I think this is where it got bad for me. I looked up and I saw the dark clouds, and then like when you start to trip and you have like the hallucinations, it just everything gets personified. So all that dark gloominess just like started to just really kind of take over.
And right after that, we walked by, and all my neighbor had all those fucking faces on the tree.
Oh my god, the face tree!
Don't ever do that.
First of all, they must be some kind of like. What was the question you asked me? Do you prefer what kind of landscaping?
Oh.
Are you more of a?
This is how. Yeah, I was like, what do you think about xeriscaping?
Are you into xeriscaping? Bitch, I'm trying to literally not lose my mind, and you are asking me about plants.
I'm trying to keep my soul and my body as one right now, and you're asking about my preferred method of landscaping. Like, that's the kind of person I am at the party.
Between that, and then, like, you kept telling me, oh, there's people with pit bulls out here, and their dogs get loose, and I have a fear of that. And I'm like, if a fucking pit bull comes after me right now in my current state, I said, I will murder it.
Because, the Rottweilers.
Con permiso.
Because you just reminded me, because there is a neighbor. If the other thing that I want to get Karen on in this neighborhood is that there's a couple that has these fucking psychotic Resident Evil Rottweilers that like want to kill anything that comes in its path, and they insist on taking them on long strolls around the neighborhood. And they are so crazy that like the guy walks the super aggressive one and the lady walks just like the kind of aggressive one.
Yeah.
And the one that the guy walks, if that leash ever snaps, it wants to kill me. Like,
well, and then of course after that we saw like 10 dogs, and each time I'm like even more freaked out. I'm like, oh, this is it. This is the one.
This is it.
So I just want to ask you, since this was like your first like real experience with it, was it what you thought it would be?
No, it wasn't what I thought it would be, but it was very enjoyable for me. Like,
I think you had like a very euphoric time. Like that's the best.
I was just in a really, really good mood, and everything looked better than it does normally.
Right.
Like colors were extra awesome.
Did you have any hallucinatory hallucinations?
I didn't see anything that wasn't there, but things that were there looked weird. Like I made the mistake
like
of looking
an alteration.
in the mirror.
Oh
And
yeah, we came back to the
like,
house, and I actually went to her bathroom, and I came out, and then she's still in there. I'm like, "Are you okay?" And then she tells me the next day, she's like, "I couldn't stop looking in the mirror." I'm like, "You're not supposed to do that. That's like one of the rules."
And I remember I was like, "You are ridiculous." Like I just kept thinking that, and I was like,
"Do you see yourself like in a shade of like it's like almost like a metallic-y grayish, like a not like a sepia tone, but like a liquidy, a filter."
If I remember correctly, like the colors looked normal to me, but features were super exaggerated and the lines were blurred.
So,
like it was like I didn't have a defined outline. Everything that was there was still there, but it was like almost like my outline was like kind of like flowing.
Yeah.
It was weird. And so I remember I was holding onto the sink and I kept getting close and far away and close, and I was like,
I have
it felt like I was in a fun house mirror, but it was a regular mirror. That's what I remember thinking. I was like, this is kind of fun, but like.
Oh, so you were enjoying it. A lot of people tend to like not like that because it changes the perception of yourself.
It was quirky enough to be entertaining and not scary. I could
Right.
see it going a dark way.
If you'd have taken a little bit more and not been in a good mood, it could have gone
I could
way...
definitely the way that I was seeing it, if it hadn't have been fun, I could see it going really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see. I mean, any of the stuff that I was experiencing, for some reason, it was just on the lighter side. But if I felt that way on the darker side, I could see how unpleasant that would be.
Like, so I was just having a lot of anxiety, and for me, I call it bloomin' onion brain. So it's like, it just feels like everything comes unfolded.
Did it come with sauce?
You know there's always... if it's involving me, you're going to get some sauce.
Is happening.
And let me just say, the sauce was heavy. It was heavy. And then I went out on your back porch. I'm like, I need a cigarette.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then Amanda literally turns it into like the fucking tribal scene on Survivor out there with the tiki torches and the guy. It was like Charlottesville out there.
There's very, very bad mosquitoes, and I had just gotten these new tabletop tiki brand torches, so I was like, we gotta light this shit up if we don't want to get bit.
I thought she was gonna sacrifice me to the tree. Because at some point,
I could see how you would think that.
The tree was talking to me, and then you were over there behind the tree on the swing, and I could not see you, but I could hear you, and the tree did not like me.
And I wouldn't stop. I do remember this because I was thinking about this the other day about how I was like, Ariana Grande has a good voice, but there's no soul behind it. It's not like Whitney Houston.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Because like she has no motherfucking conviction in that voice.
Yeah, I was like, the voice is amazing, but there's nothing behind it.
So wait, you're over there deciphering Ariana Grande's singing voice, and here I am reliving past trauma in a tiki torch rebellion out in the back of your house. With the tree looking at me in some kind of way. There was a lot going on. I'm like, all right, because being in here was too much, and then the cat, and then I was like, all right, I need to like take a breath and like breathe through this and just get through it. And then we went and walked around the MCF Escher neighborhood.
Yes.
I don't know what
MC Escher, yeah.
Looked like an MC Escher fucking nightmare.
Yeah, that was...
Houses with no windows.
I talked about that with Clark because he came on like the weekend after I think that we tripped, and I was talking to him a little bit about it, and I was like, let me just tell you, there wasn't a window to be
There's
had.
no windows. Like, it's either people are in witness protection or Scientologists.
Somebody who doesn't want
Jeffrey
you to know.
Epstein.
Yeah. Somebody with something to hide is living in those houses.
There's a lot of hiding going on.
That's all that I know.
I'm just saying that whole neighborhood makes no sense.
No.
Sober or not.
No, I know. And because you know what? The next day I had to drive through there just to be like.
Oh, I told Amanda, I said, first of all, if you wake up tomorrow and your windows are fucking blocked in, it's like you are now, it's like the Borg.
Yes.
It's like you have been assimilated.
Now. Yeah, and now.
Resistance is futile.
Every time you wake up, one less window is there, and you don't you like slowly don't realize what's happening.
But I told him, like, you need to go through this neighborhood tomorrow and make sure that what we actually have experienced tonight is real, because sometimes when you're on psychedelics, you can be a little crazy. And there was one of those houses, I could not tell what it was on the roof.
But the fucked up thing about it was that you're like, okay, am I on drugs or is this the reality? It's the reality, which is even weirder that these people live in houses with no windows.
Yeah, I don't want to.
It was so bizarre. It was...
just the whole idea, whoever designed that neighborhood is a fucking freak.
Yeah. Somebody that I don't want anything to do with.
The next episode of Unsolved Mysteries is going to take...
the builder of those... Yeah.
No, it's going to be that house with the cop in it. I'm telling you, there's a cop that lives there. He's up to no good. There's some shiesty shit going on over there in the windowless neighborhood in Palm Harbor.
That was some shit that I was like, I don't get it. And I don't even know if it's a question for me to answer, but it's on my mind. Yeah. Like, what is happening here?
Well, I feel like we need to redo this again. But like, because here's the thing, like when I'm in a good I was actually in a really good headspace. Like I was totally prepared for this. Like, set and setting's really important. I was so thrilled. Like we're gonna have such a great time. And one of the things that I like to do, like when I'm on shrooms, is like I'll get like this stream of consciousness going that I never usually can tap into normally. And I come up with like crazy ideas, and I'll like make notes on my phone for like comedy premises. Not that night, bitch. Not that night.
Not the night.
So we need to redo it. Again sometime, just to...
I'm down.
Because I feel like you had a good experience.
I had a very good experience. I would try it again. Like, to me, psychedelics aren't something that I want to do on a regular basis, but I do think that they can be very beneficial and enjoyable. Like,
there is actual evidence, there's studies, there are like people actually benefiting from psychological trauma.
Yeah.
But not like on a high dose, like micro dosing. Yeah. But there are huge
I know, and they're doing like so many studies and stuff now.
I
can't wait to see what they figure out. Like, because everything's been so off limits that they haven't even explored what all these things can do. So once we get like brilliant minds behind this shit, and it's not just some stoner in a headshot being like, "Hey, dude, take this." Like,
right. The problem is, it's kind of like, I think with weed it's a little different, but like with psychedelics, it's so hard to like give you the same sort of like dosed out experience each time.
Because everyone is so different, yeah.
Because your chemistry is so different, and there's so many things that can interact. So I'm not an expert on the topic. I've done a lot of research into it, and it's definitely helped me. Not for everybody. I'm not saying y'all should do it. I'm just saying it's definitely helped me with like anxiety. It's helped me with like my working through shit. So there is true benefits to it. Just don't go walking around the windowless neighborhood looking for answers to the universe, because you're not going to get them in Palm Harbor.
No, you need windows. Listen, you need the windows into the soul, and those houses had none. So it was...
And I need Amanda giving me a fire dance, doing poi twirling in the backyard, them tiki torches.
It went real Polynesian real quick back there. But
I was waiting for you to dig a hole and roast a pig back there.
I was trying to... No, I was going to sacrifice the Rottweilers that try to kill me.
Oh my God, for real, like that whole...
I was just trying to save us from bug bites. It's a Florida summer.
I appreciate it, but the bug bites would probably have been the pleasant experience for me at that point, because that's when it was a... But anyways, I still had fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It just wasn't what you were expecting.
Was not planning on all that. So. But hey, you never know what you're going to get.
Well, on that note, do you want to give out your social media for people to follow the very funny Hugh Carey?
Sure. Hugh_Carey22 on Instagram and Hugh Carey on Facebook. I don't really do Twitter because I can't seem to make things less than 150 characters now.
I think they expanded it to double that, but it's still
I don't know.
And it's like a cesspool on Twitter. So
I feel like Twitter is just like going to the corner of your neighborhood and just screaming out to the void for the most part, unless you have a following. So
angry old people go on Facebook. Angry young people are on Twitter.
Yeah. But I'm on Instagram. I do a lot of stories. So
yes, he does really good cooking videos, and whenever comedy happens again, he'll be posting about his shows on there. And
I'm doing the Hot Mess show this month.
Oh, you said that? Yeah, the Hot Wing show that I did. So if you're local, he will be on the next Hot Wing.
I think it's July 27th. Let me double check, because I'm gonna plug it.
And that will be at Snappers in Palm Harbor,
No, it's
Florida.
July 29th, and it's me. So far, it's not unless it gets canceled. It's Jander and Kyle host it, I believe, and then Cam, Bertrand, JJ, James Bailey, and myself. That's gonna be a good ass show.
Yes, that's gonna be a good ass show.
Not because I'm there, but because everyone else that's on that show.
All those comedians are really funny, including yourself. And I will be back next week with another episode. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you later.
Bye.